Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex. Great show. A lot of NFL draft talk, a lot of rumors swirling. We're going to have Fox 5's Myles Garrett back on the show to talk about some of those. We're going to start off with a little Braves before we get deep into the NFL draft, which is tomorrow, which we are supposed to have a live show from. So if you're joining us tomorrow from 9 to 10, we will be live on your screen breaking down the Falcons draft and the picks that go from 9 to 10 o'clock. It should be really exciting. We had Peter Schrager say that there's going to be 10 trades or something in the first round. So it does look like it could be a wacky, wild first round. And hopefully it is, because it would make for an exciting show. But let's talk about the Braves. Last night, Max Fried throws a Maddux, something that you just never see, an under 2-hour game. I mean, it seemed like he literally came on the mound and then walked off the mound, came on the mound. I think he spent more time actually walking between the dugouts than he did on the mound. It was It was surgical. It really was surgical, and not a lot of strikeouts, but that's the best version of Max Fried. And I think there was a lot of people freaking out about Max Fried. Now, I'm not going to proclaim, he's back to being a Cy Young level pitcher. I mean, I never thought he left, but I understand, we are playing the Miami Marlins. It is one of the worst offenses in baseball, but you can't do better than that. You quite literally 9 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 92 pitches, under 2-hour game. That's as surgical as it gets, Alex.
Before I start praising Max Fried and maybe some of the other guys that stood out, the Miami Marlins are a sad sack of you-know-what. They don't hit, but they field well. No, not really. Well, they don't field well, but maybe they pitch well. No, not really. They don't do anything well. And quite frankly, again, I feel bad for those fans. That organization does wrong thing after wrong thing. And it once again, Braves fans, thank our lucky stars that we have for all intents and purposes, Liberty Media is one of the best ownership groups, an individual or a group in all of sports. And Alec Cantalos is one of the best GMs in all of sports. With that being said, absolutely incredible. I don't care if it's the Marlins. I don't care who it is. What he did is very impressive. He had great stuff. He was running it up to 97, I think, maybe 98 at times. He faced a minimum amount of batters through, I think, like 6 innings. Yeah, so he was it was a vintage Max Fried performance. Nobody should have ever been worried about Max Fried in terms of when he's healthy, he's on. You can have your concerns about the health, but if you're talking about healthy Max Fried, guy's one of the best lefties on the planet in terms of consistency as well. So all this, the sky is falling, Spencer Strider, we need to get another ace. Guys, we had an ace before Spencer Strider. We have an ace after Spencer Strider and Max Fried.
Yeah, I mean, Max Fried, frankly, has been a better pitcher than Spencer Strider. I know we're all high on Spencer Strider. I've called him the best pitcher in baseball, maybe a little prematurely, but I genuinely believe that's what he was on track to. Hopefully he can get back on that track, but let's not make any mistake about it. Max Fried's been the ace of this staff for the last 4 or 5 years. And you can make an argument he was still the ace, even if Spencer Strider was healthy. Yes, it started off poorly, but guys, pitchers go through slumps. They go through, especially with as much time as he missed. Sometimes it takes a while to get in the grooves of thing. It looks like he's finding that. Of course, we have to wait until he sees it. We see him do it against someone other than the fish. But there's really nothing to be worried about Max Fried. Surgical. Third, Maddux, by the way, which is pretty incredible because there's only been, I think, 10 players that have 5 or more. So he's on track to have 5 or more. There's only been 5 with 6 or more, and no one's had more than 7 outside of Greg Maddux himself. So pretty incredible stuff there, because it's something, if you go look at the top 10, no one pitched after 2000 except for Roy Halladay. So this just is something that doesn't happen, and Max Fried is one of the few pitchers that can do it. The only other thing I wanted to mention about this game is the top of the lineup. Very, very slumpy. Matt Olson, Austin Riley can't seem to buy a base hit. I know Riley got a hit yesterday. Olson super slumpy. But this is kind of what makes the Braves so great. Yep. The top of the lineup looks like 2015 Atlanta, and they're going to come back. And the back of the lineup looks like Murderer's Row. D'Arnaud's hot. Adam Duvall hits a homer. We know about what Marcel Ozuna has done. Michael Harris is hitting well in the 7th spot. I kind of like him in the back of that order. I know him batting second with Ozzy Albies out isn't a long-term thing, but I just like him back there. It seems like he's more comfortable back there. So I hope he stays back there once Ozzy comes back. Who else back there got it? Someone got a knock. David Fletcher's been pretty well.
Both Luis Guillermo and David Fletcher, and it goes on both sides with the stick and in the field, both of them. I mean, it's kind of crazy to see David Fletcher out there turning a double play and being like, ooh, Ozzy's kind of, we love Ozzy Albies and he's going to be our second baseman for the foreseeable future. But his defense has really, declined in recent years. But to the top of the lineup,
I have no idea why either. It's kind of like one of those things that's unexplainable. It's not like Marcell Ozuna where he gained like 300 pounds. Like,
he is big though. Like Ozzy's a big guy.
Though. He's not like fat.
No.
He's always been like a mighty mouse. Now, I'm not trying to comment on his size. I'm a short guy too. No disrespect, Ozzy. But yeah, he's a big guy. But it's not like he's lost speed or range. It just seems like his instincts have gotten a little worse, and his arm's always not been great. But but he's always been a great glove. I can't really put my finger on. I hope it's just kind of.
And
it's
not Ron Washington. So if you see this video and say it's Ron Washington, it started while Ron Washington. The decline I'm talking about started while Ron Washington was here. But I do want to go on and kind of talk about the negative aspects a little bit and kind of, paint it in a good light, talking about Matt Olson. Matt Olson can't, he can't see the ball. The thing is he's still taking walks, which is crazy. His walk rate is still, typically where it is. He just can't buy a hit. And he's striking out, probably a little bit higher than we're used to. But, I think that this is not the 2022 Matt Olson where we're going to be like, okay, he's going to hit 240 and we're going to be like, is this what we got? Is this what we gave up? All that stuff for? No, if you go the back of his baseball card, it just tells you that it's going to come through. It's similar to Max Fried in a lot of ways where like nobody should be worried about Austin Riley. Nobody should be worried about Matt Olson. Nobody should be worried about Ronald Acuna. Ronald Acuna Jr. is like batting 300, a little bit over 300, and he's got like an 800 OPS. So once he starts getting those power numbers up, he's going to flirt with 1,000 OPS again this year. So nobody should be concerned because these guys are so damn good, like Max Fried, that it's eventually going to come, and it's going to come in bunches. And generally speaking, Austin Riley's case, when it starts to heat up, so does Austin Riley. I mean, that guy can hit 7 home runs in 5 games before you blink. That guy, and same with Matt Olson. So, like you said, the bottom of the lineup, it's somebody different every night. Last night against the Fish, it was Adam Duvall. Nobody should be worried about the top of the lineup. I know you're not, but I know some people on Twitter and Facebook are, doom, gloom, skies falling.
Yeah, I mean, I saw people saying Austin Riley shouldn't be batting third, which is
crazy. I thought we were beyond this. Are we not beyond this?
The guy finishes 3 straight years in the top 7 of the MVP race, and we are talking about a 25-game sample size in which, like, listen, Riley struggled, but it's not like he's hitting like Jose Abreu numbers. Like he has like a 750 OPS. Like he's in a little bit of a slump. Yeah. Like a week ago, I think his OPS was at like 880.
And it's so crazy. Is like one series, one weekend, he hits 3 home runs, and that OPS is.
Well, just look at Travis d'Arnaud. I mean, it's the perfect example. The guy had, I think, like a 55 OPS plus, which is 45% below league average, was hitting below the Mendoza line. He goes out there and has 5 home runs and 8 plate appearances, and his WRC plus hops up to 150. I mean, we're in like it only takes a week of good baseball for these numbers to look a lot better. So they're really not even worth looking at this point. And yes, I'm not worried. I mean, Matt Olson, is he going to hit 54 homers again this year? Probably not. Do you need him to hit 54 homers? Probably not. Marcell Ozuna is going to do that, baby. So you got your 50 home run guy and Marcell Ozuna, Ronald Acuna. I mean, it's just a matter of time. I did want to bring up, I mean, you sent me a tweet about the baseballs going, 20 feet shorter on, the same kind of stat cast, being the exit velocities of 106 or higher at a launch angle of, I think it was 19 degrees, and going 23 feet shorter. I know it is the winter, the winter in some places it's colder, and that definitely has effect on the baseball. But this is kind of something that's been going on in Major League Baseball for so long, for like 5, 6, 7 years. You think back to the juice ball era, then the dead ball era, then they go back to where it's like, are these balls juiced again? And it's like, why are we even having these conversations? But they're going to be a conversation throughout this year if this continues. I guarantee it.
Well, what's even crazier, yeah, you're right. It will continue to be a conversation. And it's not really, in my opinion, my biggest gripe isn't with the offensive. It's where it's like, oh, we're not getting enough home runs or as many home runs as we would. The Braves are a home run heavy lineup. Alex Anthopoulos has gone about it. So it does affect them more. It affects the pitchers too. Like, is that maybe a factor in all these injuries? Probably not. I don't know, but it's worth exploring. It at least brings doubt into your mind as a pitcher. So yeah, I think stop screwing with the baseballs. I mean, this should once a decade, sure. But
Well,
this is like a third time in the span of like 6 years.
I don't know if it's like a thing that they're doing on purpose. Like I think at some point.
I mean, that's crazy if you can't regulate.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel that's even more embarrassing.
I think they're dude. Look at the jerseys.
Yeah,
I mean, there's clearly something that's not exactly relegated about all these things. There's not enough checks and balances about what's going on out there and the contracts that MLB is handing out, or we'd have better jerseys. Now, that's a lot easier to point and say, okay, something screwed up with that. Y'all didn't do a good job. But the baseball, something similar could be happening. And listen, like I said, maybe, but it brings in doubt, right?
Yes.
When the incompetence is just so clear as day when you look at the jerseys. And yeah, I'm interested to see how that continues into the summer months, but it definitely seems like something's up there. And like you said, I mean, the Braves are a team that thrives off the long ball. Now their pitchers could benefit from it. The pitchers will benefit from it, but they are an offense that thrives off the home run ball. And you've seen what happened in the postseason. You don't hit home runs. It's kind of hard at times for this offense to score because they are so
funny enough, though, we've been a little bit small ball in recent weeks. Which is
we're leading the league. And I mean, we lead the league in like every offensive category, average on base percentage. So it's a lot more than just home runs, but it is something to think about and keep in the back of your minds throughout the summer months.